The Oscars, Hollywood's most glamorous night, or at least, that's how it's supposed to be. Every year, the Academy Awards gather the biggest stars for an evening of red carpets, emotional speeches, and golden statuettes. But let's be honest, what keeps people talking long after the ceremony isn't just the winners and losers, it's the bizarre, awkward, and downright cringeworthy moments that unfold live on television. Let's take a deep dive into the moments that made audiences gasp, cringe, or burst into laughter and the stories behind them. Will Smith's slap heard around the world? Let's start with the mother of all Oscars scandals, the moment that instantly became the most talked about event in Academy history. In 2022, Will Smith stormed the stage and slapped Chris Rock after the comedian made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head. The room fell into stunned silence, while viewers at home wondered if it was scripted. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. While Smith did go on to win the Best Actor award that night, the applause that followed didn't sit well with everyone. Actress Mila Kunis later expressed her shock at how many people stood up for Smith, despite what had just happened. "Not standing up was a no-brainer for me," she said, emphasizing how performative Hollywood's morality can be. Jada Pinkett Smith eventually addressed the altercation, hoping for reconciliation between the two men. However, the Academy wasn't feeling so forgiving. Smith was promptly banned from attending the Oscars for 10 years. Who knew an award show could feel like a WWE match? The Anne Hathaway and James Franco train wreck. Hosting the Oscars is no easy job, but when the Academy decided to pair Anne Hathaway and James Franco as co-hosts in 2011, they unknowingly created one of the most painfully awkward nights in the show's history. From the very start, it was obvious that Hathaway was trying her best to bring some energy to the stage, but Franco, well, he looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. His total lack of enthusiasm forced Hathaway to overcompensate, which only made the cringe factor worse. After the debacle, Franco admitted to David Letterman that he completely bombed, joking that even the Tasmanian Devil would look sluggish next to Anne Hathaway. And honestly, he wasn't wrong. Marlon Brando's legendary Oscars rejection. Marlon Brando, the Godfather himself, pulled off one of the most powerful protest moments in Oscars history in 1973. Instead of showing up to collect his Best Actor award, he sent a Native American activist, Sachin Littlefeather, to reject it on his behalf. Brando refused the award in protest of Hollywood's mistreatment of Native Americans, but the audience wasn't having it. Littlefeather was met with boos and even racist remarks from the crowd. Still, her speech remains one of the most significant moments in Oscars history, proving that sometimes the most memorable moments come from those who refuse to play by Hollywood's rules. The Great Envelope Mix-Up. You know that secondhand embarrassment you get when someone makes a huge mistake in public. Now multiply that by 1,000,000 and you'll understand the 2017 Best Picture fiasco. Presenters Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway were handed the wrong envelope and accidentally announced La La Land as the winner instead of Moonlight. The La La Land cast was already on stage giving their acceptance speeches when producers had to interrupt them with a "Hey, actually, you guys didn't win." Cue a live television nightmare as the correct winners awkwardly took the stage while Hollywood collectively facepalmed. John Travolta versus words. John Travolta has graced the Oscars with some truly bizarre moments, but his biggest slip-up came in 2014 when he completely butchered Idina Menzel's name. Instead of introducing the Frozen singer, he confidently announced Adele Dazeem. Nobody knows how he got from Idina Menzel to that, but the internet had a field day. The following year, Menzel got her revenge by introducing him as Glam Gezingo, which should be an honorary Oscar category at this point. Travolta later blamed the flub on last-minute changes in the teleprompter and a backstage distraction, but the damage was already done. The moment became an instant meme, with Adele Dazeem even getting its own fake Twitter account. To this day, it remains one of the most hilariously unforgettable Oscar blunders. Richard Gere gets banned for being too political. Back in 1993, Richard Gere decided that instead of sticking to the teleprompter, he would use his time on stage to speak out against the Chinese government's treatment of Tibet. At the time, China's crackdown on Tibet, including the exile of the Dalai Lama, was a sensitive global issue. Gere, a devout Buddhist and vocal supporter of Tibetan independence, called for an end to China's occupation and human rights abuses during the Oscars ceremony. The Academy did not appreciate the detour and promptly banned him from the Oscars for 2 decades, as Hollywood was increasingly wary of jeopardizing its business ties with China. Gere, however, took it in stride, later joking that Hollywood forgets you were banned if you just stick around long enough. And true to his word, he made a quiet return to the Academy Awards in 2013, presenting an award on stage without much fanfare. His career, however, took a hit as major studios distanced themselves from him, fearing backlash from China, which had become a lucrative box office market. Lear remained unapologetic, continuing his activism and focusing on independent films that aligned with his values, proving that some actors prioritize principles over profits. The Hidden Fences debacle. What happens when reporters try too hard to sound knowledgeable? You get the legendary Hidden Fences incident. During the 2017 red carpet interviews, multiple journalists, including NBC's Jenna Bush Hager and actor Michael Keaton, confuse Hidden Figures, a critically acclaimed film about African-American women in NASA, with Fences, a completely different movie starring Denzel Washington and Viola Davis. The blunder quickly went viral, sparking online backlash and becoming a meme. The internet wasted no time roasting the mistake, turning Hidden Fences into an example of Hollywood's tone-deaf approach to black cinema. The mix-up was especially frustrating because both films were nominated for Oscars that year, and both had predominantly black casts, highlighting how often diverse films are lumped together as an afterthought. The controversy led to wider conversations about the lack of media representation for black filmmakers and actors, with many pointing out that such mistakes wouldn't happen with white-led films. Celebrities like Pharrell Williams, who was a producer on Hidden Figures, called for better recognition and respect for these movies, reminding Hollywood that true inclusion goes beyond just making the films, it's about celebrating and acknowledging them properly. That time, Sacha Baron Cohen dumped ashes on Ryan Seacrest. Sacha Baron Cohen is no stranger to chaos, but even for him, the 2012 Oscars were a standout moment. Dressed as his character General Aladdin from The Dictator, Cohen walked the red carpet carrying an urn that he claimed held the ashes of North Korean dictator Kim Jong-il. As reporters chuckled, Ryan Seacrest, one of the biggest names in Hollywood media, stepped forward to interview Cohen only to get a handful of ashes dumped all over his tuxedo. Seacrest, ever the professional, tried to laugh it off, but the incident quickly became one of the most outrageous moments in Oscars history. Cohen was immediately escorted off the red carpet by security, but the stunt had already made headlines worldwide. Some called it comedy gold, applauding Cohen for his fearless satire, while others thought it was a step too far, arguing that pranks like this undermined the prestige of the event. Seacrest later admitted he wasn't amused at the time, but took it in stride after realizing it was just another outrageous Cohen moment. Either way, it cemented Cohen's reputation as Hollywood's most unpredictable prankster, ensuring that any red carpet event with him would never be boring. The Angelina Jolie and her brother kiss. In 2000, when Angelina Jolie won the Oscar for Girl, Interrupted, she took to the stage and passionately declared, "I'm so in love with my brother right now," which would have been fine except that earlier that evening, the two had shared a full-on kiss on the lips at the Vanity Fair Oscar party, and the cameras had caught it. Within minutes, the internet, or at least what existed of it in the early 2000s, exploded with speculation. Rumors ran wild, with tabloids suggesting that the kiss was more than just sibling affection. Jolie later explained that it was a moment of love and gratitude toward her brother, James Haven, who had supported her through their mother's battle with cancer. She emphasized that the media had exaggerated the moment and taken it out of context. But let's be real, people kept talking about it for years. The image of that kiss is still one of the most bizarre and talked about moments in Oscar history, proving that some celebrity scandals never truly fade, no matter how innocent they may have been. The ultimate Oscars prank. Trey Parker and Matt Stone in drag. South Park creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone know how to make an entrance. In 2000, they attended the Oscars dressed as Jennifer Lopez and Gwyneth Paltrow, complete with identical replica gowns. As if that wasn't enough, they were also allegedly, well, not in their soberest state. When asked about their outfits, they refused to acknowledge anything unusual, keeping straight faces as they dodged every question. The commitment to the bit was flawless, making it one of the most memorable moments in Oscar history. Fans still talk about the prank decades later, proving their mastery of satire extends beyond animation. Whether Hollywood was in on the joke or not, one thing's for sure, no one else has ever pulled off an Oscar stunt quite like this. And that, my friends, is why the Oscars are less about the awards and more about the chaos. From slaps to name flops, Hollywood never fails to deliver accidental entertainment. If you enjoyed this trip down the red carpet of disaster, hit that like and don't forget to subscribe, because who knows what jaw-dropping moment we'll roast next.